सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। Chapter 2, the history of human development. So what we are going to discuss in this topic is the history of human development as in the history of the intellect development. How it goes through 4 distinct stages. We'll read the whole of chapter 2, Anshu.
Chapter 2, History of Human Development. Human history, tracing back to its origin, reveals 4 distinct stages of human development in ascending order. Age of perception, age of observation, third, age of scientific inquiry, and fourth, age of contemplation. Age of perception. At the beginning of human existence, people lived in the age of perception. In that age, the mass of humanity merely perceived the phenomenal world. Their organs of perception registered the sense objects like sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. That was all. Their experience of the external world ended there, with no further reaction within themselves. People in that era were content in just gazing at the outer world. It took a long time before humanity rose from the age of perception to the next age of observation. Should I continue, sir?
Yes.
Age of observation. In the second stage of development, people were not content with mere gazing at nature. They began to react within what they perceived. That marked the beginning of the age of observation. In this era, people's mind observed certain happenings and correlated them without intellectual discernment. It lacked reason or judgment. There was no cause and effect relationship established. They would observe 2 occurrences and correlate them as cause and effect. For example, a person observed a black cat crossing as he was on the way to his business, and the business happened to fail. He forthwith related these 2 events to believe that the crossing of the black cat brought about the failure. Thus emerged the era of superstition, an era when generations after generations lived their lives in superstitious belief and ritualistic practices. They had no knowledge of the science of cause and effect. They held on to ridiculous superstitions and rituals, a practice that has caused sorrow and misery to human lives.
Yeah, continue.
Age of scientific inquiry. Humanity slowly graduated from that spell of superstition to the age of scientific inquiry. They began to visualize the vivid expressions of cause and effect everywhere, that the world is governed by the law of causation. Every cause has an effect, and every effect a cause. In the first 2 ages, the intellect remained undeveloped. Human beings needed to awaken and apply their intellect to apprehend the laws that control the world. The age of scientific inquiry ushered the dawn of the intellect. People began to inquire into the phenomena of cause and effect. Their inquiry led to the emergence of science, and the scientists began to discover the laws governing the world. But their inquiry and effort was confined to the precincts of the world. This is as far as the gross intellect can go. It cannot reach any further. The human needs his subtle intellect to probe into anything beyond the world, to realize the reality that transcends all scientific inquiry and discovery. Lacking the subtle intellect, humanity lingered in the scientific era for long before entering into the age of contemplation. Age of contemplation. This is the last stage of human development, when the subtle intellect conceives and contemplates upon the supreme, all pervading reality. Beyond your body and its perception and actions, beyond your mind and its impulses and emotions, your intellect and its thoughts lies the reality. The human alone is endowed with the subtle intellect which can contemplate and penetrate into the unknown reality, referred to by the layperson as God. Reaching the transcendental state marks the acme of human existence. Hardly anyone conceives, much less attempts to attain that exalted state.
The present era.
The present era. The above four ages depict the gradual development of the human species. However, in today's world, the four ages seems to coexist. There are people living at the level of body with hardly any reaction with the outside world. These are rare ones who still belong to the age of perception. Others operate with their impulses of the mind and are caught up in the blind beliefs, weird superstitions, and ritualistic practices. A large percentage of people today fall under this category. Human beings lack intellectual applications in their lives. Their intellect is virtually absent. They do not doubt or question their extreme reliance on beliefs and superstitions, and have sold their personalities to peers and authorities. Even before people reach their adulthood, before the intellect has matured, they consider themselves atheist or religious, Christians, Hindu or Muslims, capitalists or communist, etc. On what basis do they assume these positions? There is no thought, reason, or judgment supporting any one of their assumed personalities. Since the vast majority of human beings fall under the above category, there are not many intellectuals today who can claim to have a scientific background. The present era can no doubt boast of discoveries and inventions, yet the scientific minded intellectuals form a low percentage. Rare indeed are those who are founded on logic and reason, who will not take things for granted, who are not driven by doctrines and dogmas, maxims, and mandates. The modern generations can claim no more than a rare few who have reached the age of contemplation, who contemplate upon the reality, who revel in the supreme consciousness that pervades the body, mind, intellect, who have attuned to the transcendental that lies beyond the terrestrial world of perception, emotions, and thought. The present day world is therefore an admixture of the four ages of perception, observation, scientific inquiry, and contemplation. Those contemplating upon the reality being so few, there is considerable pressure pulling the layperson to the lower stages. To tear apart from such peer pressure and to pursue the highest state of contemplation needs extreme intellectual effort. Every human will do well to use his subtle intellect to the maximum capacity to contemplate upon and attain the ultimate experience of self-realization.
So, chapter 2. It's a continuation of the discussion about the human anatomy. So, there we studied as body, mind, intellect, perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, contemplator. And then in that chapter, it was introduced that intellect is unique to a human being. Since it is intellect that is unique to a human being, now we are entering into the discussion of the intellect. How the intellect grows in 4 different stages. So the history of human development means the history of the development of the intellect. Because development of human being is always equated to the development of intellect. Therefore, in that sense, it is history of human development. 4 distinct stages. The first stage is age of gazing, age of perception. The second one is age of observation, age of superstitions. The third one is age of scientific inquiry. The fourth one is age of contemplation. These are the 4 stages in which the human intellect grows. The first stage is age of perception. Perception means, in this context, seeing things around and not reacting to anything. Not understanding what you are seeing and not reacting to anything is what the word perception in this context means. In some other context, the word perception will have a different meaning. In this context, age of perception means a person sees things and they don't and they don't react, they don't understand, they don't react. In the local language, they say, yeah. இதே local language சொல்லணும்னா, who would you say that in the local language? Jadam, Jadam. That's not local language. She is a poet, they all come from refined state. That's why they use Jadam and all that. I am talking about local language. Muttal. How do they say this in local language? Shankar, நீங்க சொல்லுங்க. நீங்க தான் நம்மால. Yeah, only we both understand each other. Shankar unmute பண்ணுங்க. SRL Shankara. நான் அவர் தான் கரெக்டா லோக்கலா சொல்றாரு. அவருக்கும் லோக்கலா சொல்ல தெரியலன்னா then we'll forget it.
வாயிலா பூச்சி சார்.
வாயிலா பூச்சியா? அவர் பாவம். ஏஜ் ஆஃப் பர்செப்ஷன் அது கிடையாது. ஏஜ் ஆஃப் பர்செப்ஷன்னா கரெக்ட். அவரால் சொல்ல முடியல, டைப் அடிச்சிட்டாரு. சரியான எறும்பு மாடு. Isn't it? It just sees things around and not react to anything. Even if you whip it also, it will not react. That is the age of Deepika. Erumadu means buffalo. Just seeing things around like a buffalo. Yeah, classical language la they say erumadu mari paraga paakadha they say. Correct? Ramsubrahmanyam புரியுதா? இப்போ புரியுதா? That's the age of perception. Always seeing things around and not receiving anything. The eyes are seeing, but what you see, you are not reacting, you are not understanding. That state is called age of perception. They just don't react. They see. It's not that they are blind. They see, they hear, they smell, but I don't know where they are. Yeah. In some place they are. That state is called age of perception. Shankar, correct? Yeah. Yeah. That's why in local language they say parak pakada, they say. Means you keep gazing without any understanding, without any knowing of anything. Yeah. And definitely it's not a Tamil word, I know that. Yeah, from which language the paraka comes, I don't know. Definitely has to be some Telugu only. I was about to say Golti, but it was about to say some Telugu word only. It has to be, not necessarily Tamil, because Tamil will not have these kind of ugly words. Parak Pagar. And they use it only in Chennai. They don't use it anywhere else. And it's so beautiful a word because it conveys it. It conveys it so beautifully. What is age of perception? It means the intellect, even the rudimentary intellect, is not functioning. When we say rudimentary intellect is not functioning, we should understand even the rudimentary subtle body itself is not functioning. Because if the moment the mind starts doing something, intellect will come into play automatically. It may not come into play rightly, but definitely intellect will come into play. But here, what is age of perception means? The gross body is awake, subtle body is fully asleep. Subtle body is fully asleep. From that age of perception comes the age of superstition. Superstition is correlating cause and effect wrongly. Again, superstition means you correlate cause and effect wrongly. That's what superstition is all about. You see something and then you see something else. The basic intellect wants to know why. Again, I repeat, the basic intellect wants to know why. And the way to say why is something they correlate. Some answer they give. Why this is happening, some answer they give, and that answer will have no correlation to the cause and effect. So this kind of intellectual functioning is called age of observation, superstition. Example that is given is a person went to some business, failure. Question is why it didn't work out. Question now is why it didn't work out. I went to do something, why it didn't work out. An answer is required now. What is the answer? He connected. What is the connection? When I left the house, the black cat crossed. So since the black cat crossed, the work didn't happen. He is understanding the effect and trying to correlate it with some cause. Effect is business didn't work out. The cause is black cat crossing. Most of the time when intellect functions, it appears to be intellectual functioning, but it is mere superstition only. Either predominantly human beings will be in the age of gazing, or they will be in the age of superstition, observation. From that observation state, the intellect further evolves into the third stage. What is the third stage? It tries to correlate, is that the actual cause and effect? Is that the actual correlation? Is there any factual correlation between the black cat and business not working? That inquiry is called scientific inquiry. So first is gazing, not reacting to anything. Second is randomly correlating things without any proper inquiry. The third stage is from the spell of superstition to age of scientific inquiry. Now, generations after generations, they live in superstitions. Every individual has superstition. Every person has superstition, isn't it? If you remember, not that we are all grown up now, yeah, age, the biological age, but mentally still that teenage, not even teenagers, yeah, isn't it? When we were all children, we all used to have lucky pen, isn't it? We used to have what is known as lucky pen. We used to have what is known as lucky dress, isn't it? You take that pen and you wear that dress and go to exams, you will pass. Comes from. Have you ever had a lucky pen? Yes, everybody would have had. Yeah, not a single person is an exception. Everybody would have had a lucky pen, a lucky dress. Now that you've grown up, you understood that there is no correlation between the pen that you carry and the exam. But at that point of time, it looked so meaningful and so correct also. Incidentally, it worked also. Yeah, incidentally, it worked also. It didn't work at all. Just a coincidence. It just doesn't work at all, isn't it? So funny, they go, I have seen some of the people doing it. They have the pen. This is not a pen, it's not a pen, but imagine they just go on and on, isn't it? Before the exams, they'll go and then write. No correlation at all. This is called age of superstition. From this evolve the next stage, age of scientific inquiry. What is scientific inquiry? Whatever you thought as the cause in the age of superstition, you question, is it a right cause? That is age of scientific inquiry. Again, I repeat, whatever you thought as the cause in the age of superstition, in the age of scientific inquiry, what would you do? You would inquire, is it the right cause? Scientific inquiry is nothing but trying to correlate cause and effect rightly. What is correlating cause and effect rightly? You throw the ball, it falls down. You slip over the carpet and you fall. The bird hits the power line and tumbles. All these are unconnected. All these are unconnected events, correct? No connection between one and the all these are unconnected events. The moment you bring in a word gravity, all gets connected. Are you able to follow? Even though all looks unconnected, you bring in a word gravity. What do you understand? All gets. This is called scientific. This is called scientific inquiry, where you want to correlate cause and effect properly. In order to correlate cause and effect properly, a prerequisite is not to see things emotionally. If you are looking at things emotionally, you can never correlate it scientifically, because emotions overpower. When emotions overpower, it will be always a kind of superstitious way of functioning, thinking. I know, sir, I have experienced it, isn't it? I know, I have experienced. Actually, sir, smoking and cancer and all has no correlation. A person says that. A person says, actually, sir, smoking and cancer has no correlation. You ask a person on what basis of saying that. I know this person who has been smoking 2 packs a day for 80 years and he didn't die of cancer at all. What would you say? What would you call this thinking? Are you able to follow? He's saying, if smoking is going to cause cancer, I know this person, sir. 80 years, I know. He's smoking 2 packs a day and didn't get cancer at all. Also, sir, he didn't die of cancer. Poor thing. His wife only died of cancer. His wife only died of cancer. Superstitious, not able to go deeper into the scientific way of reasoning. What is the scientific way of reasoning now? In the scientific way of reasoning, the intellect has developed a little bit. That is why in the initial stages, even in the modern education, up to a particular level in schooling, everybody has to study some science and math. Why they kept the science, the study of science and math compulsory up to some stage in school? Because that minimum inquiry should come. That minimum inquiry should come. That's why they kept. Once you understand this, and then you can apply the same principles in any field later. Even in literature, you can be very analytical. Even when you study economics, you can be very analytical. But the minimum required thing is what you need to understand. What you need to understand? Age of scientific inquiry means trying to understand the right cause and the right effect. Are you okay till now? This understanding of right cause and right effect made people to understand the so many principles in relation to the world. Based on those principles, inventions and discoveries happened. Because of this study, because of this inquiry, people were able to understand certain laws of life. Because of understanding certain laws of life, they're able to make certain discoveries also. Made life better. They begin to discover the laws governing life. They started to discover the laws governing life. And why in science we call it as a law as opposed to in superstition? What is the difference? What is the difference between the superstition and the scientific law here? The fundamental difference.
Law has to hold true and good always.
The law means it will hold. It will
hold true and good always.
Yes, it will hold true and good. Goodன்றது தேவையில்லை. இல்லையா? சயின்ஸ்ல குட்ன்றது தேவையில்லை. Law means that it will hold true always. As long as the conditions remains the same, it will remain the same. That is the law. Are you able to follow? This is the age of scientific. As long as the condition remains the same, it will remain the same. That is called the law. Scientific laws. But still, it is only still it is not an advanced stage of intellect. Stage of scientific inquiry is not an advanced stage of intellect because still it is only the gross intellect functioning in connection to the realms of the world. Still, it is functioning in connection to the realms of the world only. Then comes the age of contemplation. What is this age of contemplation? To understand what is this age of contemplation, refer to the verse that we study in Bhagavad Gita. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschitenam. That is the age of contemplation. Verse number 69, 70, chapter 2. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschitenam. Chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita, where he talks about Ascharya, wonderment, wonderment. That is the age of contemplation. What is the wonderment at the age of contemplation? What is the wonderment? How there is a very deep penetrative vision of life makes you to understand at the contemplative state to see the play of the divine. When you can see and understand the play of the divine, that is called the age of contemplation. So the intellect grows in 4 stages. The age of superstition, the age of perception, the age of superstition, observation, the age of scientific inquiry, and the age of contemplation. Contemplation is not thinking about the reality. Contemplation is appreciating the reality. Again, I repeat. Contemplation is not thinking. Contemplation is appreciation. You understand the difference? You see the beauty. You see how the divine is, how it's all a play of the divine, how there is this laws functioning, how there is this laws functioning meticulously. What is contemplation? How does the divine come into play in contemplation? Carefully follow now. Wherever there is a order, wherever there is an order, you understand what? Wherever there is an order, you understand the presence of a great intelligence. Are you able to follow? Wherever you see a method, wherever you see an order, you understand that there is a great intelligence that is at play that put everything together. Contemplation is recognizing that, appreciating that. Are you able to understand what is contemplation? Wherever you see a method, wherever you see an order, wherever you see a discipline, you understand there is you understand that there is a supreme intelligence that has put it together. Correct? Okay. You look at the examples that he gives is, okay, when you look at the Panama Canal, when you look at the Euro Tunnel, you say, wow. What are you saying wow to there? What are you saying wow to there? You know it is steel, you know it is cement and steel. You are not saying wow to that cement and steel. What are you saying wow to there? The intelligence that put it. The intelligence that put it together and the intelligence that is holding it. To that intelligence, you are wonderstruck. Wow. That is contemplation. Correct? What is age of contemplation now? That supreme intelligence, in technical term, is called the reality. In layperson's term, is called as God. In technical terms, it's called the reality. In layperson's term, it's called God. So, there is a supreme intelligence that should have put everything together. An extraordinary creation where everything is so beautifully, where everything is so beautifully put in together, where everything is so beautifully functioning internally as well as externally. You can look at the macrocosm and go into wonderment, or you can look at the microcosm and go into wonderment. So two tools you have for contemplation. You can look at the external world and go into this contemplative mode, macrocosm, or you can look into the microcosm, the you, and you can still go into this contemplation, isn't it? What is looking at you? How this entire body is put together, even the gross body we are talking. Not to forget, not to talk about the subtle body, not to talk about the causal body, no. How you go into deep sleep every day and come back without losing the memory, how you come back exactly from where you left. You don't wake up confused, not asking who I am, where I am, and all that. No. What is maintaining this? What is maintaining that connection? Who decided that if it is wired in this way, if it is done in this way, this is how it will function beautifully? So you can look into the microcosm and go into this contemplative mode, or you can look into the macrocosm and go into the contemplative mode, isn't it? It looks like we are all sitting on solid ground earth, isn't it? It appears to be so. Actually, it is not solid earth and all. It is hanging in. It is hanging in mid-space. It is going to tumble down, and how the whole thing, but it doesn't happen like that at all. It is so beautifully conceived, designed. Wherever there is an order, a design, something is put in place, you understand there has to be a supreme intelligence behind it. What is that supreme intelligence that has put all this together? This inquiry is contemplation. Able to understand the difference between the scientific inquiry and contemplation? And this contemplation is what we are trying in this class. The classroom, what are we trying? Scientific inquiry, we are not trying. Superstitions, we are outgrowing superstition. We are outgrowing superstition. We are not so keen on gross intellect in law in relation to the world, etc. What are we discussing here? The age of contemplation. So you can look at the macrocosm and go into contemplation. You can look into the microcosm and go into the contemplation. Are you able to follow? Are you okay till now? So that supreme intelligence, a name is given as God. That supreme intelligence is given a name, God. Right? Second, wherever you see a laws functioning, there is a governor. Somebody is there ensuring everything is happening rightly, isn't it? That governor, who's that governor? Who's that controller? Who's managing all this? Wanting to know that is contemplation. Are you able to follow? Wherever there is a law functioning, you understand there is somebody, there is a boss. Yeah. There is a supreme boss somewhere sitting. Our bind, everything is functioning so beautifully, everything is functioning so meticulously, everything is being done under that supervision. What is contemplation now? If this itself is so wonderful and beautiful, how much more beautiful that has to be. How much more beautiful that has to be. How much so wondrous that has to be. What is that? That is age of contemplation. The subtle intellect has come into play now. Are you able to follow? First three I didn't discuss a lot because the age of gazing, age of observation, age of scientific inquiry is what we can easily understand. So that's why we didn't elaborate that a lot, because it is self-explanatory, correct? I don't think people have a lot of doubt in that. What is this contemplation and what are we trying here? This contemplation. There has to be a governor, and that governor must be of a supreme intelligence. Yeah. That's why they give the pot and the clay. Yeah. There is the clay, and then there is the potter, and there is this potter. How everything is provided, and in this provision, you simply rearrange things. How many new possibilities are coming? That's the contemplation. Are you able to follow? You are not bringing in anything new at all here. Do you know that? Nobody can bring in anything new. You can only rearrange it in a different way. That rearranging it in a different way is what we call as invention, discovery, Nobel Prize, etc. But what is contemplation now? Who's the creator? Created this with infinite possibilities. Who's the creator? Created with these infinite possibilities. Yeah. How much ever you can connect, still somebody will come and do something so wonderful, because in each and every, now we are reaching the peak of contemplation. In each and everything, the potential of infinite is in that. How is it? Are you able to follow? In each and everything, the potential of infinite is in that. One seed doesn't produce one tree. One seed has the potential to produce million seeds. So in one it appears as one, truly it is not. Truly it is not one, it is infinite. It means what intelligence that person should have had, that entity, that supreme intelligence, to pack the entire infinite in one. Oh my God. What is it? Don't you feel like wanting to know it? Huh?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes. Don't you feel like wanting to know it? Yes. To know this is the price, na? To know, don't you want to know it? Of course, want. But to know it, there is a price to be paid. And when the price is told, everybody backs up. Because, yeah. Shankar, solungo. When the price is told, you back up. Why? Everybody wants to know it. To know it, there is a price. And when the price is told, everybody backs up. Why? Because no harm. Yeah. Everything should come without effort illama, pain illama, abhe vandu ukkarum. Yeah. I know. Shankar da. I know Shankar. Sometimes he will pretend to be very, I know him. Because he's my guru, no, in all these things. He's typing. He's typing that. That and all, I don't know what he means, but what is meant is, what is it? Not wanting to pay the price. More and more you contemplate, you understand the depth of it, you understand the beauty of it, you will be ready to pay the price. Contemplation makes you ready to pay the price so that you know it. Are you able to follow? More and more you contemplate, more willingly you will be to pay the price. That is the age of contemplation. So the human intellect grows develops in 4 stages. Age of observation, age of gazing, age of perception. Perception, gazing, I am using it very synonymously. Age of perception, gazing, age of superstition or observation, age of scientific inquiry, and age of contemplation. That is the Upanishadic question. That is the Upanishadic question. They go and ask this question. What is the question? What is that supreme? What is that supreme? That has created all these. Such a beautiful thing, such a wondrous thing. First, you should be able to appreciate it. இது அப்ரிஷியேட்டும் பண்ணல, இது புரியவும் இல்லை. ஏதோ ரெண்டு புக்கு படிச்சுட்டு மாயா சார். Some Times of India article they will read and they will come and say it's Maya, sir. We say you are still in the age of you are still in the age of gazing only, but talk like contemplation. Upanishadic Rishi will say go back. It doesn't work like that here. Simply you will read one article and come and say, but sir, it is all Maya, no? It's all illusion, no? In every stage, in every level of the society, you will find group of people in gazing level, you find group at superstitious level, you find a group at scientific inquiry level, and you also find somebody contemplating. Individually also it grows like that. Society also grows in the same manner. So what is meant in the present era is, there are these 4 categories. That's what he said. The present era again is more of a self-explanatory thing. Whenever you read the book, you will read it as present era, no? Yeah, present era means always, whenever you read, supposing you read the book 2000 years later, how you will read it? Yeah. You will not say when the book was printed in 2010, will you read it like that? Present era means whenever 5000 years later also you read this you read this portion, it will be in this manner only. It means what? There is always these 4 stages. Find out at which stage you are and evolve. And when you find out, you will always find a mixture of all the 4 in you. Carefully follow. Whenever you observe yourself, you will always find there will be the mixture of all the 4 in you. Now the question is what? Okay, நாலும் சேர்ந்து இருக்குதுன்னா இதுல எது ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்குது? Which is predominant? That is you. So for understanding purposes, what do you take? Whichever is predominant, you understand it as you, and then you move on to the next. Supposing, sir, if I'm predominantly contemplative, sir, a predominantly contemplative person can't handle 5 minutes of these sessions. So what a blabbering it is, what a waste of time it is, he will say. So that person will not even come and correct. That person will not need this. That person will not need this at all. Therefore, we all have the potential to become contemplative. We all have the potential to become contemplative. So what is contemplation? The appreciation, simple appreciation. To understand it, I gave the reference of the Bhagavad Gita verse. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschitenam from Kathopanishad. It's called Ascharya Mantra. That mantra itself in Kathopanishad will be called as Ascharya Mantra because he keeps saying Ascharya, 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 wonderment, 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 wonderment. And Krishna has taken that verse verbatim from Kathopanishad and he speaks about this and he talks about that in Bhagavad Gita, saying that how much ever you hear about it, you can still hear about it. How much ever you talk about it, you can still talk about it. That is wonderment. Are you able to follow? What is wonderment means? Over, sir. 2 minutes. Wonderment is over. Yeah, 2 minutes. Oh, yeah. Wow. Beautiful sunrise. Over, sir. Beautiful. Now, even before you know what the shade is, beauty is gone. Yeah, that is not contemplation. Contemplation means you see it, and you keep seeing it. Yeah. That's why anything classical is a very good tool for contemplation. That's why anything classical they always take for contemplation. Yeah. A classical literature is good for contemplation. We all know the story of Ramayana, Mahabharata, isn't it? But still it is so. Still it is very impressive. Still it is very, not that we do not know that story. Yeah, isn't it? Climax terinja story thaan, isn't it? Climax terinja story thaan. Each and every scene also, you know, but still it is so. Anything classical is a very good, useful tool for contemplation. It can be literature, can be art, it can be music, it can be anything. Yeah. If you go to the art gallery, in front of one painting, you have to spend at least a few hours. One painting, munadi a few hours. You go there, over sir, next na. Over sir, next na. Okay, go back. Yeah, go back. Not necessarily that you have to go and stand in front of painting. Please understand. Something classical you have to use to become contemplative. Are you able to follow? And the most wonderful thing that you can use to become contemplative is the Shastra, the Vedantic literature. All other things also help you, but they all help you so limited, that's all. But when it comes to this Vedantic Shastra, why do we talk about this Vedantic literature, Vedantic Shastra as a tool for contemplation? Because you can study, and you can still keep studying. How much ever you go deeper, you know something is there more deeper. That is contemplation. Contemplation is a state of wonderment. You just don't get tired at all looking at it. That is contemplation. But you get tired, no? After some time, you will get tired. 15 minutes maximum, 30 minutes maximum, 2 hours maximum. After that, okay, you go to sleep and wake up. It's lost. It's lost, isn't it? You go to sleep and wake up and open the Bhagavad Gita verse. You can take off from where you left. Therefore, for contemplation, the recommended method is the Shastra, the scripture, the Vedantic literature. hardly anyone conceives, much less attempts to attain that exalted state. Hardly anyone attempts. First of all, nobody conceives it. Only if you conceive it, you can make an attempt to get there. So he says, hardly anyone conceives, much less attempts to attain that exalted state. What is that exalted state? Contemplation. That exalted state is called contemplation. It's not a mathematical problem. See, contemplation is not a mathematical problem where you have to find the answer and be done with it. You understand the difference now? The mathematical problem is you have to find the answer. Having found the answer, that's it. There is no wonderment there. Correct? Life is not a mathematical problem to be solved. It has to be seen in depth. And everything in you and outside of you is available for contemplation. That's why we said microcosm can be taken for contemplation, the macrocosm can be taken. Whatever inspires you. What will inspire you may not inspire somebody, doesn't matter, but everybody has to get into this contemplative state. What is the consequence of contemplation? The consequence of contemplation is inspiration. Unending inspiration. Inspiration, the inspiration, motivation that doesn't end at all. It's not like examination. You write the exam at 1 o'clock. Yeah. Suppose if the exams is over at 1 o'clock, abba, it's over, isn't it? Generally, physics and mathematics is very easy. Yeah. Chemistry, you can manage. Biology, human beings can't study because I can't study. It didn't come for me. Therefore, no, therefore it is not for 9 o'clock. Everything in the book, just memorized, that's all. Everything in the book will be known. Exams, we come out, we have to discuss answers. That particular area I will not discuss only. Why? Because I'll just go blank. I won't remember. Mark sheet mark, but that's of no. It's not a mathematical problem that you solve it and you be done with it. Contemplation is different. What is contemplation? Ascharya, ascharya, ascharya. So look at the development of the intellect now. From gazing to superstition to scientific inquiry to contemplation. It is the subtle intellect that can penetrate. Wonderment. This is the history of human development. From gazing to wonderment. And all of us will be a mixture of all four. That is, so when we analyze it first, we analyze it as though they are separate for understanding purposes. Having understood it, and then we synthesize it. First we analyze it as though it is separate, and then we synthesize it. Synthesize it meaning it's a mishram, a mixture. Everybody is a mixture of all the four, and then whatever is predominant is what has to be taken as you, and you have to work on that. And in this classroom, the attempt is to become contemplative. Is it okay? This is the lesson. The history of human development. There is a clarification. Yes, Ramsburn.
So, actually,
Two, three. Two or three? Yeah.
Three.
Three. Okay.
So last week, based on last week's last Wednesday's class, so you taught us that there are two kinds of teaching. One is to awaken the intellect,
Yes.
and then there is pretend to be taught to the awakened intellect.
Yes.
Now our case.
Yes.
So my question is, I come to the question. So we have already been taught things of God, Rakam Dharmaki and Tatham Sishbetu and so on. That we have sort of heard and registered at least the memory, right?
Yes.
I cannot say I fully understood that.
Correct.
But I'm heard it memorized and registered in my mind, right?
Yes.
So my question now is, how will I know that my intellect is awakened?
Yes.
Will I know, or will you as my teacher know that?
Yes. The question that he is asking is, how will a person know whether that person intellect is awakened or only the guru will know? If your intellect is awakened, you will know it. If your intellect has awakened, you will know it. Having woken up, you know that you have woken up. You will not need somebody to come and tell you, now you have woken up. You having woken up, you know that you have woken up. You follow what I'm saying? We hear all these and it has to be stored in the memory. It has to be necessarily stored in the memory. Because from the memory only you have to go back and take material for contemplation later. So all this will be taught and you are not expected to attain self-realization after the class. You are only expected to store it in the memory, process it and then store it in the memory. Process it and store it in the memory. Without processing, if you memorize it, you will forget it very fast. If you process it and store it in the memory, it will be available most of the time. So it means it will be available for contemplation. So in this classroom, all knowledges are stored in the memory. The only difference is with processing or without processing. Most of the time, it is without processing. That's why we tend to forget. In this classroom, we are trying to process and then it goes into the memory. You follow what I'm saying? When the knowledge is available, when it is needed the most, it means the intellect is available. When the knowledge is available when I don't need it, but when I need it, if it is not available, it means intellect is not functioning. Are you able to follow? This is the thumb rule you have to keep. You know it, but it is not available when you need it. Another is you know it and it is available when you need it. That's where somewhere later we will discuss again the availability of intellect in 4 grades. Here we talk about 4 levels. So later on we are going to discuss it at another 4 levels. Intellect available after the action, intellect available during the end of the action, intellect available somewhere in the middle of the action, intellect available before the action. Later on we'll be discussing that also. You follow what I'm saying? Ram Subramanian. Yeah.
Second question, sir.
Yes.
So we are talking about Shastra's being only Pramanam for myself, know myself, for you to know you.
Yes.
Or to sharpen the intellect, awaken the intellect. Right?
Yes.
So my question, and we're talking about our Vedas and Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures. So even if you look at the Greek school of thought of Socrates, grandma Aristotle, then even if you look at Chinese philosopher Confucius, said do not do unto others, but do not let others do unto you and so on. So they were also working on awakening, the intellect, right?
Yes.
Right? Philosophy, intellect.
Yes.
Maybe not Indian philosophy, but not Indian scriptures, but other Greek or Chinese or whatever and so on. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So when we say Shastras are the holy Pramanam or Vedanta is the holy Pramanam, and these are the scriptures, Vedas and Gita and so on. What were the scriptures available to Socrates school of thought, Confucius school of thought, and others?
Yes. The question that he is asking is, There are so many people in different parts of the world worked on the human development, the betterment of inner self. There are different schools of thought, different societies were working on inner development of human being, as in the Western school, as in Socrates, that parampara, the Chinese, the Confucius and that parampara, and here we are talking about Vedanta and this parampara. What is the difference?
Yeah, so what, like Gita and Vedas, what did they have as base for them to read and reflect on this?
In the difference between all other systems and this system is, all other systems comes to a ethical and moral and dharma and stop there. The 4 human pursuits, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. All other systems come and stop at the level of dharma, ethics, morals. They don't talk about liberation, moksha. So here we talk about that and we are talking about something extra. That something extra is liberation. Are you able to follow the difference? As far as the dharma part of the discussion is concerned, more or less there will be a lot of areas of overlap. But again, there is a difference. Again, there is a difference. What is the difference? The way in which we talk about dharma as Samanya dharma and Vishesha dharma distinction and all, they can't make. They will make a universal rule for everybody. Here we don't make, because we are concerned about thinking about the ultimate reality, the thinking is that penetrative. Because of that thinking being that penetrative, every facet of life, their thinking is very different. I would say penetrative. I'm not using the word superior, I'm using the word penetrative. So what is their focus and what is the focus here? There the focus is dharma. How to make life better. Here, how to make life better. And then they ask, first they will make life better. And then they will ask a question that upsets you at the root. What is that question? The carpet is pulled under the feet. What is that question? Is there a thing called a better life at all in the first place? What are you talking as better? So they take the entire discussion to a different level. That is the difference. You follow the difference? At the level of dharma, it's common sense. That's why in Vedanta we say dharma beyond a point is common sense. Since there are smart people in different parts of the world, they all will be saying the same thing. Socrates, and before Socrates, there was a group of people. Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and then it branched off. And then these Chinese ones, wherever you go, and then the Middle East philosophies. There is the Western, there is the Middle East, there is the Oriental. All there are. Dharma may be common in some areas, but the deeper penetration differs. That's the only difference.
So Indian philosophy, Vedanta was the difference.
Yes. That is why if anybody wants to come to the ultimate philosophy, they come to Vedanta. Because knowledge ke antamnu potrukkiradhu inga. Knowledge comes to an end nu pottadu inga da. They don't put an end to the knowledge at all. They say knowledge keep growing. Inga da we say knowledge comes to an end nu potrukrom. Antam nu pottu ஒரு நாளைக்கு full stop வைக்கறோம் இங்க தான். Are you able to follow? Yes, Hari Ramakrishna. Okay, unmute Hari. Yes, Hari, chalunga.
Guruji, with respect to this particular query, about the comparison between our Vedanta and the other school of thoughts.
Yes.
I find that all the other schools of thoughts, it revolves around personalities. Say,
Yes.
for example, if you are taking Christianity minus Jesus is 0.
Correct.
There is no Christianity without Jesus,
Mm.
or there is no Islam
Yeah.
without Prophet.
Yes.
Whether they are right or wrong is a different question, but it still
Actually speaking,
revolves around personality, which is not the case in Sanatana Dharma. Even if
actually
you are,
speaking, this is a very, very narrow and to a large extent wrong interpretation. It's a wrong interpretation. Meaning the testament was there even before Christ.
yeah,
To say that it started with him is
he only showed it.
a limited fact, because
Yeah, yeah,
testament as such was available.
yes,
But then that particular way of doing things is different. That's all. So that's all. So it is more of a specific application rather than a school of thought.
yeah,
Here we are talking about the school of thought, the dharma, the philosophy, not a specific application. When we are talking about religion as a specific application, what you are saying is true to an extent. But then there is this limited understanding that is going around now, that all religions has one person as the founder. This religion doesn't have one person as the founder and all.
yeah.
It's not ultimately true. It's not absolutely true. Because Abraham and Father in heaven was there even before.
Yeah, that is the New Testament and the Old Testament.
Yeah. Therefore, to say that, but then it is okay to say it in a very limited sense. But in this context of what Ram Subramaniam asked and we were discussing, we are not discussing religion here. We are discussing about a law, a philosophy, and how it evolves. The Dharma evolves.
Okay.
You follow the difference?
I get it.
The Dharma, the philosophy, and a set of practices which is called as religion.
Okay.
In Sanatana Dharma also there are these gradations. In Sanatana Dharma also there are hundreds of groups, splinter groups, fighting amongst each other, saying who's right,
Yeah.
who's right, who is wrong, isn't it? Stabbing each other. So this is a very limited understanding, which in this classroom we want to understand it rightly.
Okay.
You follow, Hari?
Yeah. I got it. I got it. I have another question regarding
Yes.
contemplation.
Yes.
When we are talking about contemplation,
Yeah.
That is still within the terrestrial world.
All thinking is done by the instrument and it is terrestrial only. But contemplation is different because the subject matter is different there. That's why we're using a different word, contemplation. I can think about the matter, the world, or I can think about the reality. Both are thinking.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking about the reality, the word that will be used is contemplation. When I am thinking in relation to the sciences and the matter in relation to the world, that will be called as scientific inquiry.
And thinking.
Yes, both are thinking.
Yeah.
Both are thinking. But what brings the difference is the subject matter makes the difference.
Yeah, my question is, in case of contemplation, when we are still in the terrestrial.
Yes, it is terrestrial. Because
so in that case, yes, you continue. Then I will ask.
You are breaking up. I didn't hear fully what you said.
You were continuing, so I thought then you continue and then I will ask me.
Yeah, I said it is terrestrial, correct.
Yeah, when it is terrestrial, then does the subtle intellect at all play a role? Because we understand.
Yeah, it's breaking up.
Yeah, I thought since it is connected with the terrestrial world.
Yes.
then the gross intellect plays a predominant role than the subtle intellect. Is it correct?
In matters of
Yeah.
in matters that concerns worldly applications, it is gross intellect only.
Okay.
In terms of understanding how the mind functions and controlling the mind, it is gross intellect only.
Yeah.
In relation to the body and body control, it is gross intellect only. So the sense control, the mind control, manipulating the manipulating the elements around us and making it to suit us, all this is function of
Gross intellect.
intellect. Then what do we call it as? Sukshma buddhi, subtle intellect. It is talking about something that is so, it is trying to break into something that is indefinable, ungraspable, but still it is indefinable, it is ungraspable, but wonderment. It defies all logic. No, that is subtle intellect. It defies all logic, but that is subtle intellect. Are you able to follow?
Yeah, I get it. I get it. All the natural laws are when we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you penetrate deeper, logic fails, but wonderment results. That is subtle intellect.
Okay.
Understand that as a difference. That is the difference between the gross and the subtle. You follow her?
Yeah.
With this?
The third question, will you next week?
Yeah, next week. Yes. Our next weekend or annual next week. Yeah. We'll do with chapter 3 next week. We'll continue with chapter.